10, 9, ignition sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff.
2, 1. Welcome to the Alien Probe Podcast. The renowned journalist Thomas Lipscomb has just completed a new manuscript with Jerome Croth titled The Oswald Letter. And it contains a number of staggering claims based on these federally released documents, as well as fresh accounts from new eyewitnesses who have never before been interviewed. I'm Doug, and joining me again today is Dr. Bill. What's going on, Bill?
Hey, how are you?
Good. We just we're about done. We should have recorded the last hour and a half. We've been talking, and we would have been finished probably.
Yeah,
but here we are.
Yeah, but I'm not sure we were saying anything that was that interesting. Other than
nothing anybody wants to know. So, what about this Kennedy thing? What about this updated?
Oh,
that you dredged up. Why now? Why is this not super big news?
Oh, this stuff is never big news. And then, then of course, YouTube is going to put a banner on it saying, "Look up the Kennedy assassination on Encyclopedia Britannica, so you can find out the real truth about what's going on."
Yeah, that was authored in 1965.
Yeah.
Well, the windshield. What's interesting about this? I mean, I know you got a lot more details on it, but what struck me is the windshield. Finally, the windshield eyewitness account that there was a bullet that came from the front.
Yeah. That is what caught my attention. So we should say this was on. This was posted on Emerald Robinson's The Right Way on Substack, and it's coming from a guy who is writing a book. Thomas Lipscomb just completed a new manuscript with Jerome Croth titled The Oswald Letter. Did they say what the Oswald Letter is? But it doesn't matter. But so she posted 3 different things. So one of the most fascinating things was the history of the windshield of the limousine that Kennedy was riding in on Dallas.
Yeah.
So,
and really, they removed the windshield. I mean, they brought it back to the White House into the garage.
Well,
and then they sent did
it go to the White House first, or did it go?
It went to the White House first. Then they sent it to the Ford. They sent the whole vehicle to Ford somewhere. It's a Ford plant, and then they removed the windshield and put in a new one, and then they ground up the old one.
Yeah,
but there's a picture in this report of the windshield.
Well, there's a windshield that is supposedly from the limousine in the Smithsonian, and it's got
the bullet hole in it.
It's got a star crack. It's got a star crack in it, and what they were saying is that's the star crack from the magic bullet that had that amazing trajectory that went left, right, up, down, sideways, and whatever. And they even said that the testing showed that there was lead residue on the inside of the window. But this article also shows photographs of the limousine where you can see a definite, I don't know how you would describe that. It's I don't want to just call it a bullet hole, but it looks like it's not a star crack like they're showing in the windshield that's in the National Archives.
Well, and they show. It's interesting because they have a picture of the limo as right after the shooting, and the number, what is it, the frame? They put the frame number in there. Frame from the Zecker, whatever.
Well,
his name.
They have one that looks like it's somebody's. It's not from the video, the famous video, the whatever. This is Zuckerberg.
Well, there is
Zapruder. It's Zapruder. It's a Zapruder film.
But there is one, but it's got the number. If you look down, there's Z230.
Oh, yeah, that's the Zapruder film. They show frame 230, and you can clearly see a frosted area where the bullet hit. And in the Zapruder film, which is so horrifying if you look at it, you can actually, it looks like Kennedy got hit from the front because stuff comes out behind him. And there were people that were saying, and then his wife actually, when she climbed back on the deck lid of the limo, there's reports that she was actually scooping up his, brain matter into her hands when she was doing that.
Yep. It's pretty horrifying.
But it definitely looks like, I mean, and this thing says, so none of this was mentioned in the, I guess, in
Warren
the
report.
Warren report. It was like 100,000 pages of stuff. And they have here two photos, Altgen's photos taken about a second and a half after the first bullet hit President Kennedy. Notice the circle, and you can see a frosting in the windshield that is definitely looks like a larger sort of mark than what they're showing with the windshield in the National Archive.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
yeah.
It's weird. It's freaky.
Yeah,
I know it happened 60 years ago, but to think that our government, and we've all surmised as to why this might have happened in, other publications, but it's our own government taking him out. I mean, we don't know that, but
it's all conspiracy. It's all conspiracy.
Certainly points to that.
Conspiracy theory. Conspiracy theory. It's all a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. So,
well, I read. I mean, this was recommended to me. It was a series of books by James Elroy, called "The American Tabloid," and it's sort of his take on the Kennedy assassination. It's fiction, but he does a fictional 3-book story of all the people that are different people that are involved in it, and it's like CIA and cops and Cubans and this whole thing. And supposedly, those 3 books. I mean, the person that's recommended it, supposedly those 3 books actually give you a reasonable approximation of what happened with Kennedy, although it's fiction.
Yeah.
But this is interesting. And in this article, it says about the windshield thing, is that a guy who was at Ford was there. I guess he gave a statement talking about being there with the windshield being removed, and shredded. I guess they destroyed it, and then they put destroyed it. And then they put a new windshield in the car to go back to the White House.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I guess somebody must have, and then it would suggest somebody like hit it with
something, but
yeah.
There were other witnesses that weren't interviewed, and didn't go in the Warren report.
Yeah, there was. You mean about the windshield? So there was people.
They saw that. There was a police officer or FBI agent that commented and said, that there was a bullet hole in the windshield. I don't know if he determined whether. I mean, they figured out because of the debris on the inside of the limo that it had come from the outside in.
Well, what you have a specific pattern, because you have a hole in the outside, and then you have a crater burst on the inside.
Right.
When you have a bullet go into a window. But what did he say? He says it also positions the shooter to the right of the underpass and not discussed as the grassy knoll. And if you look at the layout for Daily Plaza, I think that's what it's called. In is it Houston or Dallas that he got shot?
Dallas.
Dallas? Yeah, I don't remember. If you look at that, the underpass is a better location. So it's like not only historically people are saying, well, it's the guy up in the Patsy. Up in the Patsy. Up in the depository, or it's somebody in the grassy knoll. But the spot under the overpass is a better location for a shooter.
Isn't the windshield bulletproof? I mean,
no, not in these days. I think he had he had a plastic cover that could go on the car. I think that was bulletproofish. That could go over the limo, but Kennedy didn't want to be enclosed in a plastic bubble while he was driving around. Just for the PR aspect of it. Now the president, vice president's driving around in the tank. I actually saw Al Gore once after he gave a talk in Chicago, and I was standing outside the building where he gave the talk. And the limo comes out, and Al Gore's in the back seat waving, right? And the glass is so thick, it looks like, it's dark and it's thick, and you can just it's green, and you can just see this figure in the background, dimly lit figure through this dark green thick window waving. It's not a good look. Yeah, but I'm sure he felt safe.
Yeah, well, based on what happened here, I think it's prudent to enclose yourself because there's some nuts out there.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Who knows what happened with Oswald was so. Oswald, I should say, there was this show that I watched. I can't remember the name of it, a while ago, and there was this guy that was working for some sort of federal agency, and it's like a team was working, and some other group had this guy had infiltrated this other group, and they were setting this guy up to be like an assassin for assassination he didn't do. And so it sort of failed, and it was in the progress, and they're doing it. And he walks into this room with his coworkers, the guy that was working undercover, and they called him Oswald because he was obviously this other group was setting him up to be the patsy for this shooting. And so it was a great scene. He walks in, he goes, "Hey, Oswald's here," or "How you doing, Oswald?"
No.
Yeah, it was funnier than shit. But there's two other articles in this thing that are interesting. The other one was the last phone call and the things about Oswald being trained by the CIA, which is pretty obvious that he was.
Right.
Because in that, of course, our intelligence agencies, genius level. Train U.S. citizens or whatever military to become defectors to the Soviet Union. And it's like anybody that's gone to the Soviet Union at that time after living in America would be there for 10 minutes and go, "No, I don't think so. I don't want to live here."
Yeah.
So it's just and the Soviets knew this too, because they're like, everybody's trying to get out of the country. Who wants to get into the country? Are you stupid? And which is basically how I think Oswald was welcomed when he went to Russia.
Yeah.
And more than likely, when he came back with his wife was probably tapped to be a spy for the Russians.
Yeah, it's like that show, The Americans.
The Americans. That's a good show. Yeah. That's the level. I think that's the level of sophistication that the Soviets would apply to putting spies in this country. And then our level of sophistication is training some GI to speak Russian and then just having him walk into the embassy like they did with Oswald.
Insert him in there.
Yeah, and it's
what's this deal about he called John Hurt in Raleigh, North Carolina, while he was in jail after he didn't get through to John Hurt, but Hurt was operative.
So Hurt apparently was a trainer for this camp that was training people to be defectors, spies to Russia. So he was a trainer at the camp, and after he had seen the assassination, he called and left a message for Oswald to call him. And then they had to, I guess, go through the charade of having the call made. So there was like a operator because in the old days, in the 60s, an office building or a facility, you would have an operator, and the operator worked a switchboard, and calls were placed. They would use like wires and plugs and switches, and and it was all manually done. So he had scheduled to place a call to this guy at a certain time. So Oswald was at a phone, and the operator puts the call through and would call the number, and when the number was answered, they would plug in and throw the switch and put the call through to Oswald. Well, what happened is that these two guys came in who were obviously, law enforcement, and had apparently instructed the working operator to not allow the call to go through. She just said the call had went through and held the switch in like the off position, and then told Oswald that there was no answer, even though this guy, not Thomas Lipscomb, who was the guy that
John
Hurt had said, call me at a certain time or something. I don't know if he gave a time for him to call. So she said no answer, and then the other operator that was part of the shift change actually documented this event. And apparently, she has a collect call, long distance message. Lee Harvey Oswald has the phone number, Raleigh, North Carolina, called John Hurt. I guess Oswald was calling him collect.
Yeah.
And they didn't allow the number to go through. And John Hurt was John David Hurt. It's never been mentioned in connection with the assassination in the 10,000 volume Warren Commission report. But he was involved in training spooks in our highly advanced and sophisticated defection program instigated by the United States government to infiltrate spies into Russia.
Yeah.
It's like trying to infiltrate China at this point. Actually, under not our last president, but the president before that, there was a network in China. We had an active network of, I guess, informants or spies in China that were Chinese citizens. And then the new president came in. This is not the past president, but the president before that. And the new president came in, and shortly after the new president came in, all these agents, and there was up to 100 or more, just disappeared. They were just gone.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That was under Obama?
Yeah. They were just gone. They just vaporized. And it's like, since it's China, you don't know what happened to them. They're just gone.
Nice.
They just disappeared. Just gone.
Just gone. Happens.
Just gone. So there was this new book that will come out at some point details the windshield with decent documentation that there was a bullet hole in the windshield coming from the front, and that the windshield was removed, ground up, and replaced with a different windshield. A operative called Oswald to talk to him about something, and the call was never allowed to go through. John David Hurt, experienced former special agent of U.S. Army counterintelligence. One of the things they mention is that Oswald was fluent to the point where people thought he was a native speaker of Russian, and people have had a hard time trying to pin down exactly when he had learned this, but it looks like he went through a very extensive training at some point, but it's hard to pin it down. Apparently he picked up the language quickly. This was new evidence. Lee Harvey Oswald was trained by the CIA. There's the windshield. What was the third thing? The third thing was his last phone call. So it's three different things. And the phone call and the training by the CIA tie in together. Hey, nice Marine uniform. I used to have a uniform like that.
Do you still have it?
Some of it. I cleaned out a bunch of stuff a little while ago. I kept some of the stuff because my kid said he wanted me to hang on to it. Otherwise, I was just going to get rid of it all. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You know,
Let us move on. You have several topics for
moo
us.
on. Did you say moo on?
First of all, let's talk about MUFON, aren't we?
Moo on.
We checked in with our local MUFON chapter. They did
Your local.
my local chapter in good old Rockland, California. But we had wasn't Teams, I don't know, Zoom. Had a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
And then there was an author that had talked for a couple of hours. Who's very knowledgeable. It was kind of cool.
Well, he talked
so
about.
We checked in with that.
He was talking about. He's written a book, which we don't know.
He's written about a couple books. We haven't read any of his books.
Yeah, he just wrote one, and it was on law enforcement's seeing UFOs.
Right.
He's documenting different cases and writing about different cases where law enforcement interacted with UFOs. I actually have in the report on the UFO wave of 1947. There's a nice report in there with a couple coppers chasing UFOs.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I don't know, as we move through. I mean, I've locally, and then since we're talking about local stuff, did you get the Rancho Cordova UFO sighting?
Yeah, I looked at that. I actually had to sign up to that web page so I could see it.
Yeah, sorry. I should have given you my. But I knew you'd figure it out. But I can't see. I'm trying to get the actual recording from the guy because I can't. It just looks like some foil just blowing around.
Well, it might be. It might just be a Mylar balloon.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of other people comment. There's a lot of comments on it.
I didn't look at the comments, but it's it might be a Mylar balloon, and it shows you. That's a good video because it shows you the difficulty of photographing something with a pocket phone.
That's kind of where I was going with that when I sent it to you. I go, yeah, this is another instance of, but it wouldn't have been bad if it had really been something. And I mean, it can be done, but it's right on the edge of being able to discern what the hell.
The cell phones aren't great cameras. They're good for close up.
Yeah.
But he even used zoom, and these cell phones have a pretty good zoom on it. I was at the airport one evening waiting to pick up somebody, and there was a helicopter flying around. And I was just trying to take pictures of the light with the helicopter. And it's hard, and you can see it with this guy's video. It's hard to focus in that camera and get decent shots. We think that, I mean, that's one of the criticisms like people have is like there's so many cell phones and all this other stuff, but these phones, the quality picture's good if you're up close, but they're not great cameras, which is why you have these programs where people are trying to build these big telescopes to photograph spaceships.
Yeah. Yep. So I thought it interesting. There's a lot of comments. I commented on it. I put out the podcast and said and my email on the Alien Probe podcast at gmail.com.
Oh yeah.
To anybody because it's in my area. I said, and another gentleman suggested MUFON, and they did report the incident to MUFON, so an investigator can go down and talk to the guy and get his video on it and do a report. I think they're going to find that it's like you said, Mylar balloon or something. He said where it shot off really fast, and I didn't get that.
Yeah, I couldn't see that. We'll see. I mean, I spent some time looking at the video, but it's hard to see what's going on. And it was marginal. Yeah, and your eye is a lot better than the camera when you're seeing something like that. So, but yeah, it's cool, interesting.
So then I was selling, and I sent you the story of I was selling something.
Yeah.
And, we were chatting in the garage, and we had that picture that allegedly came out of Kelly Johnson's office down at Palmdale, the Skunk Works. And I was showing him that, and he was actually with the Air Force in Palmdale.
So what was
they had done some things.
What was this picture?
It's a, I've sent it to you before. It's I don't know what the designation. It's an experimental transport for troops and supplies, and it looks like a little shuttle. Looks like a space shuttle. It's an artist depiction. It's not an actual picture of it. And I researched it, and it actually existed, and it had, but they were having a lot of problems with the fuel tanks. They couldn't get them to work without exploding, I think, probably.
Blowing up.
And then there's a new one. So
whose office was this in?
I talked to...
This was in Kelly
Johnson.
And who was that?
Kelly Johnson's office.
Who was that?
He was the director of the Skunk Works.
Okay. Down
in Palmdale.
Okay.
And they did develop the SR-71 and the U-2 and that kind of thing. The super secret aircraft.
Send me another picture of that. I'll insert it into the.
I will.
I'll insert it into the YouTube thing at this point so people can see it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, I'll see how that works.
Yeah. So that would be cool.
Yeah.
So this wasn't the thing that was in there, though. He says that wasn't that. He said it was. They had the F-117. There was one in this shop that they would. They went through this walkway. He had top secret clearance, but he says I didn't have top secret enough clearance to work on this thing. He goes, there's secret, and then there's levels above secret. Secret's just a generic kind of term.
Yep.
He had access to a lot of things, but not the F-117. But he saw it. He goes, yeah, it wasn't really a secret at that point, much of a secret. It was out by that time, and they were working on it. And then they pushed it out. They didn't. He said pushed it out, meaning one day it was there, and the next day, this triangular thing was sitting there. And he goes, it was the. And I said, yeah, it's the. What is it? The TR3. I think it's the TR3B.
Yeah, you sent me that article on it.
And if you read about, that's phenomenal about its, the
magnetic.
It's amazing. Yeah,
magnetic field disruptor plane.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's it'd be phenomenal if that. They call it the Astra. It's a magnetic field disrupt, like you said. And
is this the thing that was like seen over the Phoenix area? Is this the Phoenix Light?
Well, they don't really know the Phoenix Light. I don't know. If you look at the pictures, it's got pictures of the thing. If you open the article up,
yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
And there's like a couple. It's got three different. It looks like three of them, but it's just the same thing photographed in different angles. But they've seen it over. But anyway, this guy I talked to said, yeah, they pushed it out. He says he had an opportunity. So the TR3, anyway, so that's not, it was kind of just interesting because I didn't have my shirt, I didn't have my UFO shirt, so he's an engineer electrical engineer for SMUD, our electrical company. So he says, no, I've never seen a UFO, but I did see something weird down in Palmdale. I go, holy shit, you're at the Skunk Works. And again, I'll send you that pic.
Yeah, I'll insert it in.
And it's a really cool picture. I've never seen another one like it. If you ever run across one, let me know. But I thought it was. I bought it from a guy. I was buying those military aircraft pics at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised that nobody picked it up. But I guess it's one of those things where it's a specialty item. It's not. It's cool, but it's not. It's not fighter jet cool. You know what I mean? It's cool in the sense that it's something from the Skunk Works and allegedly Kelly Johnson's office, who is, the director of, the Skunk Works down there. So that's that. So, aliens. Talk about some alien abductions, different types of alien abductions.
Well, I don't want to spend a lot of time on that, but I just read that book about John Mack, who was interviewing people and trying to help people, I think, psychiatrically, that were, having these experiences. And one of the things I don't know anything about this, and I don't want to pretend I know anything about it at any level. But my impression is there's I think you can break down the alien abduction things into two different categories. One is like the people that are driving along or out somewhere, and they have an abduction experience, like the guy in was it Arizona that you've talked about him. I actually got his book, which I haven't read.
It wasn't Walton, right?
Walton, it was Travis Walton. Travis Walton, which is a case where people are out in a rural location. Yeah. And there's people like the Benny and Barney Hill, which are driving in a isolated area, and there's an abduction scenario going on with that. And then you have people that I would call more of like a metaphysical type abduction, where they're at home, in bed, asleep, and they have the thing where they feel like they're being lifted through the roof of the house, or aliens come into the bedroom and take them away. I don't know. And I have that article from the New York Times from 1994 that I was reading to you, which I don't know if you want. We'll talk about this next time. I'm eating. Sorry. Got hungry.
We took so long, everybody started getting hungry.
Yeah, no, we were just having technical difficulties and all this other stuff. But yeah, so I would break down at this point, I'd break down the alien abduction thing down into two categories. One is a metaphysical type abduction, and the other one is actually a remote physical abduction. Although the other ones, people report it as a physical abduction phenomenon, but those ones involve quite often the ones where people are abducted from their bedrooms. Those seems to involve alien sex and hybrid type things. So I'm not sure how to categorize these, but I have a feeling that in my limited capacity of knowledge, I would say one is has the potential to be, I don't know, something, and the other one I think might be a psychiatric condition. So a psychiatric event. So, and I don't think it's too far to say that one is, you have these different categories. So I don't know what's going on with the metaphysical type abduction. They are more of a, I would say almost a religious type experience that people are having versus like Betty and Barney Hill, or Travis Walton's experience as reported by them, which is something more like a kidnapping, a physical kidnapping. Anyway, my 2 cents on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Betty and Barney Hill thing. I'll just throw this in there. I think is the most believable of all of them that I've run across. I'm not even sold on Travis Walton.
Yeah, really. He's, I mean, that's something that we need to get into at some point. I want to read his book. The whole scenario is interesting. I did run across something on the internet about them. The National Enquirer had a cash reward for UFO stories at one point, and apparently they had they all got checks, all his friends and stuff, because there's a picture of them all holding checks up that they got from the National Enquirer. And the problem with that, I don't think there's anything wrong with rewarding people like that. I'm still eating. But the problem is that immediately when you see something like that, everybody goes, "Oh, they did it to get the money."
Yeah.
Well, it's human nature. If somebody's going to, I mean, I'm not saying they did it for the money, but if something like that happens, of course, and you have an opportunity to profit from it, you should. And like I've talked before about people that might have alien artifacts. When you go to, like the guy at Stanford, if you're going to a multimillionaire, and the multimillionaire says, "Why don't you just give it to me?" It's like, no.
I don't think so.
We need to figure out some more amiable, since you're really into patents and making money and all this other stuff. we need to figure out some sort of an amiable deal if I'm going to provide you with this stuff for analysis, where I share in the rewards. I think the Harvard people are the same thing.
So anything else alien abduction wise?
Well,
no,
that's just an observation I've made. I don't know anything about it. I just read one book and just an observation. I did the alien probe snippet where I talked about the differences in technology and limited technology in some of these sightings, which I thought was interesting. Because it's like if you're it's like that ship that landed and a bunch of little guys jump off it and dug soil samples in New Jersey.
Yeah,
that's just. I mean, it's a primitive sort of way to go about it, and with high tech and no tech. So then I was speculating that if there is advanced, spacecraft coming with little guys running around our planet, they might not be as advanced as we think they are. And then that tied in with the Appendix D, which we're not going to talk about because I haven't read it yet, even though you've read it. This is.
I only did my homework, and now I don't get any credit.
And I didn't get to it because then I was jumping back into the.
Well, let's chat a little bit about the aliens. Okay, so I agree with you. That's a very primitive soil gathering mechanism, but could like some of the other books I've read and articles. I mean, they're not. There's been speculation that they're not individual entities. They're like a hive, and they can remanufacture themselves, like you said, like with a 3D copier, but only they're making themselves, and they're not actually, I don't want to say not beings, but they're they build them and whatever. I don't know if they're, I don't think they're electron. I don't know. I mean, whatever they are.
Clones.
People, clones, or they're just not. I mean, one of that other book series I'm reading, they state that they did. This is the one where they dug up in the hills up in Utah, and they were digging underground bases, and they ran into a hive. The hive also were underground. These things are underground. That's what we can't see. I mean, that's the point. Mm-hmm. They're from here. They've been from here. They aren't just arriving today. They've been around. They're underground. They're undersea.
Well, that ties in with the Lemuria stuff by what's his name? I remember. I can't remember anything here. It ties in with the Ray Palmer and the Shaver Mysteries. That guy was talking about underground things and things like that.
Yeah, the book I'm reading is, that's one of those things where they dug into it. I mean, it was an actual story, and then they made a fictional book series out of it.
Yeah, I remember that.
So I don't know. Are they real? Are they? You know what I mean? We think they're coming to get us.
Well, I mean, because of the limitations with traveling between stars, it's more likely that you would have you could send a small probe that has advanced AI on it, and AI in it,
right,
and some capacity for self-replication or replicating small materials. And then, because you don't have to start out, if you have a machine that can replicate and it's intelligent, it's like the nano machine thinks. It can start with small machines, and the small machines, can build bigger machines, and then you sort of escalate from that. So that
the Appendix D, I mean, I'll touch on it.
Yeah.
One of the things in that was that these ships aren't the observation that the author was making, is that these models of spacecraft aren't interstellar. That they had to have come from, maybe, I don't know if he mentioned mothership. I thought of that. I go, that's probably a mothership that holds these things. It could be anywhere. We wouldn't know.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, bringing these things, and then they're, whatever they're doing here, which we can't figure out. They're just checking us out. Are they concerned? And that's the other thing. Are they concerned about this whole thing started with our nuclear testing? I mean, these things, it's like we shook a hornet's nest of UFOs out as soon as we started testing nuclear.
Well, the science fiction speculation, which is pretty cool, is that the nuclear explosions, maybe there was it's like the monolith on the moon for 2001. The monolith on the moon didn't send the signal to Jupiter until it was uncovered. Once they dug it out, then it was activated and send a signal. You could say maybe the nuclear explosions and the radiation increase activated some sort of probe to start doing things and to investigate. It was interesting. Also in Appendix D, they talked about the fact that Mars, different Mars and Venus, they talked about they've discounted every other planet of having life, which I don't know. Well, some of them, it's Mars. They said at the time that the nuclear explosion went off in 1947, the test, and Hiroshima. Actually, they mentioned Hiroshima specifically, that part of the Earth was pointed towards Mars when the explosion went off, and then they could possibly have seen the flash through a telescope. Yeah, through a telescope, advanced telescope from Mars, and oh shit, these guys are getting real. Yeah. Send the ships. Yeah. Send the ships. And then in 1947, all of a sudden these ships showed up. So are they on Mars? Did they come from Mars? Which, I mean, they're fast. So we know they probably could make Earth pretty quick, relative to what our technology can do. Yeah, I don't know at this point. So, I mean, I don't have any idea what's going on at this point. I'm just digging into the historical information and trying to build an idea. I was going back to the which we were talking about, the report on the UFO wave of 1947, and I was going through a bunch of the sightings, and to me it looks like some of the sightings you could say were a balloon, and people weren't necessarily that familiar with these high altitude balloons that people were using. And I was looking at that and going, well, if somebody sees something at high altitude that looks like a sphere, a shiny sphere, I would say that they were probably seeing a weather balloon. Yeah. But there are other reports, some really good ones, of people seeing multiple objects. And one of them was, you're talking about motherships, one of them was like a larger saucer with a bunch of little ones flying around it. And at one point, there was it looks like, you were talking about trying to plot out these different sightings to see if there was any pattern to it. And I know people have talked about doing that with this stuff since the 60s. I think Hynek was talking about that. And some guy was developing a database here in Florida. And I don't know anything that's happened with that. I'm not sure what's going on with that, or if anything useful came out of that. But one of these reports was showing, suggesting that these mothership with these smaller ships flying around it made like a big circuit of the United States, because they had a whole series of places where you could see where it showed up here, and then it showed up here, and it showed up here. And it has a really good report with a couple coppers up in Tacoma, Washington, that saw it and chased it with their cop car. It's good witness reports and stuff. This is in the report, the UFO wave of 1947. And so I mean, there's something I think happened in 1947 after the atomic bomb went off. There was an escalation of events in this phenomenon, but also if you go back in time, people have seen phenomenon. And one of them I mentioned was the thing that came out of the water in Nova Scotia the flying saucer that came out of the water.
Yeah.
And then the fact that these things, and then the TikTok was above the water, and it suggests, and the implication is, I don't know either. The implication is it may have come out of the water at that point, or whatever it was doing. So the possibility. So you're talking about past possibilities. I think that it's more likely for there to be underwater alien bases or whatever than underground.
Yeah,
because it's easy.
Because they're less accessible to us.
Yeah,
we don't seem to be.
Yeah,
easier to hide. That kind of thing.
Yeah,
but it's who knows what we really know about them, because we got all these boomer submarines down there. You'd think they build a hear something. Or
I don't know. I don't know. The U.S. just sent a tac sub into Russian territory last week.
Oh,
and it got.
How'd that work out?
They got detected in about 2 seconds and pinged, and then they sent ships, I guess destroyers or whatever, after it and pinged it until it left the area. So
are we going to go to war? Let's do our military corner. Are we going to war? Oh, well, not us. Well, yeah, maybe
I hope so. I'm tired of waiting. I want complete nuclear war with Russia. I think it needs to happen.
I'm going to throw this out so that everybody can pack. I'm foreseeing that war will break out Monday.
Monday. Do you have a specific time? I
don't have a time. I don't have a time. Well, but either Monday or Sunday at the Olympic closing ceremonies.
After. Oh no, it has to happen after the Olympics.
Yeah, it has to happen after the Olympics are done. So I think Monday. I think they've already got it penciled out. Okay, or right. The minute the closing ceremonies are done, they're lobbing the first, and they're already shooting. Did you see? They shot a kindergarten. Somebody.
Yeah, that's. Or
is that? Or that's not. Yeah, it's not.
It was a kindergarten, and then also a middle school. It's like, okay, no, that's a propaganda piece.
Yeah, they just shot it. It was probably abandoned already. They didn't mention anything about anybody being hurt.
Yeah, no, that's propaganda.
So I just thought it shot a school.
It's they always do that. They go, they just killed a bunch of children. I mean, the U.S. never does that. We never kill children. Oh, wait a minute. What day of the week is it?
Is it? Not purposely, but it happens.
Yeah.
We don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
we're proud of.
Seem to do it a lot. I mean, not like every time our troops go out into the field, they seem to be doing something egregious with children. Yeah. It's the American way now. They changed the Superman's motto, "Truth, Justice, and the American Way."
What'd they change it to? I haven't heard it.
Oh my God! What did they change it to? I'll write it down.
I'm not even going to throw anything out there because it's going to be trouble.
I don't even know what they changed it to. I don't know. I thought I made a note.
What is Superman still a man, or have we? What is he now?
He's still a man, but his son is bi or something.
You're kidding. Is that real?
Yeah, it's real. They're doing such a crazy.
Well, they had on the Olympic. We watch the Olympics every night because we're Americans.
I don't.
And did
we win any medals?
It's okay. Not as many as everybody else. We're not very good at a lot of things. I saw a guy doing this. They ski in this half pipe with skis. I usually see it at the snowboards.
Oh yeah,
so this guy's skiing, and I go, "Holy shit!"
I like the snowboard.
They go
stuff.
up the side. Yeah, they go up the side and they flip around. Well, these guys are on skis doing the same thing the snowboarders are doing. I go, man, it looks complicated. Next thing you know, guy goes up the side and then they flip and land on their skis. Well, he didn't land on his skis, he landed on his head.
Oh.
And I looked at Debbie and I just said, oh, God. And she goes, yep, it's American.
Oh, God.
I go, oh, man. I go, it's not something I could ever do. I think it's amazing. I think they're superhuman to even be able to do it. All those guys. And I felt so bad. I'm like, well, it's one of our guys. So, we're not really doing all that well.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But we're not the worst, but we're definitely not the best.
Yeah, I'm.
They got them one-man bobsled now, Unibob or something. I don't know what they call
Unibobber.
it.
Did they? They are
Unibobber.
Oh, yeah.
That's what the Unibobber. So yeah, that I think that was a shining light in our Olympic event this year.
Oh, it's truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
That works too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I like the American way thing because it's like, you don't kill children is not the American way. Now, I mean, Superman can kill kids, and it's just I'm doing it for a better tomorrow. Team America. So. Well,
you saw Marvel when Civil Wars, when, we got in trouble because as we were trying to defeat evil, we were just killing and destroying a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And so it divided the team, because it's like now we're in trouble by the government and we're not allowed to do anything because we just keep having, random.
It's wiping out entire cities.
Yeah.
No, we do a good job. We do a good job of it. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just tired. I'm tired of the nonsense, and I think that total thermonuclear war is the only option at this point. Just get it over
Monday.
with. Yeah.
Monday, the 21st.
Just get it over with.
You heard it here first.
I'm tired of waiting for. They've been telling us that the apocalypse is coming our entire lives. It's just do it. I mean, I've reached the point where it's like, just do it. Do it.
I'm so tired of hearing about it.
Quit screwing around. Do it. So it's like all these people, the billionaires with their secret bunkers. They're going to go to their secret bunkers. In 6 months, they're going to be eating their children.
Yeah.
And their security team is just going to say, give me the computer codes. And then they're going to go get out. And then the security team's going to go, okay, you guys can leave now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So we're just going to be dust, huh? It's just everything's just going to...
No, I think we'll be fine.
Mutually, you think we'll be okay in the good old US of A?
I'm fine. I mean, I'm sure I can eat my neighbors and things like that. So.
I don't want to be accountable.
Hey, that's what they've been telling us is going to happen. I'm ready. I just want it to happen. Just do it. Do it.
I don't even, I even have a problem with, baloney sometimes. So I don't know if I could. I really don't know if I could just kill somebody and just start eating it.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to do that. You just gotta, wait for someone else to do it. Yeah, I don't know. Just do it. Just bring it. Bring it on. Start it. They seem like they want to have it. So just do it. Quit screwing around.
You could probably just eat yourself, Bill. You just cut off a piece of skin.
Yeah, that works.
And eat it, and then it'll heal, and then at another time you can. Just go all over your body.
That works. And
that way you're not dead, but you're scarred up. But who cares?
That's been known to work to keep people alive. That's the solution. No, I'm not too worried about it. I mean, there's plenty of animals and there's plenty of greenery where I'm at. So the food.
What do you think's going to happen? Well, you've been following the. Now you knew the latest. Now we're going to do the war corner.
War corner.
The war. Gonna do,
the cannibalism corner.
Not the last I heard, but the second to the last I heard is that they were leaving. They had 105,000 troops or whatever. And
I don't know what's going on.
Whatever the amount really was, and they said it was just a training exercise. Then yesterday or the day before, our ambassador got a notice of some kind, which I don't know if we've ever heard yet what it was, from the Kremlin to about what's going on. And then I heard nothing. It's like, you got to clue us in? You guys are on TV with the news telling about every single step we do, but you can't tell us what their intention is.
Well, our reporters we don't send reporters anywhere anymore. I mean, they just they report. You'll have a reporter be talking about the Ukraine, and they're in London.
Yeah.
So they never. So the latest thing that I heard is that there was city was evacuated in the Donbass region or whatever it is, and I don't know. I don't care. I mean, it's if the just tired. Just get it. Just get it over with. I'm tired.
Bill, your lack of concern.
I don't care. I'm tired. And just like they keep, the powers that be, they keep screwing around and they keep predicting.
Now the stock market's all fucked up.
They keep predicting the apocalypse. Just launch the nukes, man. Just get it over with. Stop
price
dicking
of
around.
gas is going up. The stock market's going down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They want a war. Just go to war. I mean, it's like they want to make a lot of money, and this is the only way they can figure out how to do it. Just do it. So
I just don't understand. I don't understand why the Russians feel the need to even do this. I don't know I don't. Like you said, they have their own port. Somebody else told me it was a warm water port thing.
Yeah,
the Crimea.
They have their own
ports.
They have the Crimea. That's why they took the Crimea back. They gave it to the Ukraine. They took it back because Ukraine was getting weird, and they have a northern port, but they're still. And then they have their eastern ports. Do you know most of the population of Russia lives west of the Urals? So most of them are right there. Just east of Ukraine and stuff. So most of the population of Russia is right there. So Russia's huge. So it's like 90% of the population lives east of the Urals. And then they have this continent spanning huge plot of land that has like 10 million people in it. And it's like the size of it's like twice the size of the United States or something. It's got like 10 million people in it. So they, I don't know. I'm just tired. I think it's all has to do with people trying to make money, and they don't have the imagination to do it any other way than to like blow crap up. So either way, we lose. I mean, that's the way it's been going on for decades now. It's like we lose. The citizens lose. We lose. So. We spend $1 trillion a year on our military, and I'm not even sure what they do. So,
okay, well, that ends our War Corner segment.
Keeping us safe.
On to UFOs.
Keeping us safe. Keeping us safe.
What's Captain America's new saying?
And a better tomorrow.
And a better tomorrow.
Truth, justice, and a better tomorrow.
Not the American way, because we don't want that.
Oh my God. Yeah. So, this has been a rough show. we've had failure. We've had
after failure. Wi-Fi failure. This will teach us to not do this in separate states.
Yeah, and we shouldn't be having this problem. Been complaining about the lack of nuclear war. Oh, that's one of the things that these abductees. Especially in the 50s, I'm reading a book, Watch the Skies. Watch the Skies! By... I'm
too busy looking at my phone. I can't...
Curtis. Yeah. Curtis Peebles. And, the Watch the Skies is... it's from the movie, The Thing from Outer Space, the First Thing movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's the title of this book. It's a debunking UFO book, but at the end of that movie, the scientist goes, "Watch the skies! Watch the skies!"
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
It's a good movie.
One of my favorites.
The blood-sucking plant alien.
It was a plant. It was like a giant carrot or something.
Yeah, that eats weird. Blood, needs blood.
It has these little, and then in its palms it has the seeds. And are its children, and then it has to go blood IVs to just feed these seeds. Sorry if I have ruined the movie for anybody who hasn't seen it.
You ruined a 60-year-old movie for people.
It wasn't as good as the new one with Kurt Russell. Isn't there one after that too?
There is.
There's another thing.
It's not bad. They
Is it come after?
Yeah, it's before. It's before it's like a prequel to the Kurt Russell one.
Is this the one where they do a lot better job showing the ship and being in the ship under the ice?
Yeah, they do.
That was so disappointing to me. That was the only disappointing thing about the Kurt Russell version. Is that they just blew up the spaceship and they kind of... Well, they didn't blow. They used thermite and they exploded it somehow.
Because it was made of magnesium or something. And it triggered it.
So, I thought, they'll go in the ship and look around and shit. I guess their thing was it was completely destroyed. There's nothing to look at. But It would have been cooler if they could just walked around. It was like Alien, when you saw the first Alien where they found the ship with the that giant thing looking through that telescope looking thing.
What do they?
And I thought,
how come they don't make movies like that now? I don't know what they're doing.
I'm trying to find a good science fiction movie.
I mean, I'm dying to find a good science fiction movie. I don't know what they're doing. Trying to think if I've seen anything decent lately. I'm most of the way through the new Blade Runner, 2049 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. But I can't think of anything.
Breakfast?
Yeah.
Do you want breakfast?
Yeah, I think. Where are we at?
We're probably can wrap it up pretty soon. This has been a miserable show. I will edit some of this stuff out.
You're going to have a fun time editing this garbage.
Oh, God. I'm going to leave this in.
At this point.
Oh.
Okay, well, yeah.
Let's wrap it up. Next time, we'll talk about... I want to finish talking about the report on the UFO wave, which we haven't... We should wrap that up. There's a couple points in there. They're talking about empirical evidence and something else. Empirical evidence and... what the hell is it? This is great. Photographs from 1947. And I think we can probably wrap up the report on the UFO wave 1947 next week.
Sounds good.
We should emphasize that the report in 1947 is interesting because it is before people really knew what UFOs were. So the reports and the witness reports are, I would say, are pristine reports before they've been people have been, indoctrinated by or influenced by the media. So let's wrap it up. Let's wrap this disaster up.
That's right. Thanks for listening to the latest episode of the Alien Probe Podcast. We welcome comments, questions, or requests to alienprobepodcast@gmail.com. Visit us on Facebook at alienprobe.net, Twitter at alienprobepod, along with Instagram at alienprobepod, YouTube at Alien Probe Podcast. Thanks again for joining me there, Dr. Bill, and thanks to our senior producer, Robert Anthony.
You forgot to do an ad.
Next time. Well, that's okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Let's not try to do anything new.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
See you next week. All right.
See you next week.
Bye.